Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. Does Kickstarter care about more than money? Does it? I don't know. But we've all heard for a long time, right? Kickstarter's not a pre-order. It's not a store. They just included that little click button that officially, in the last year says we can't guarantee a product that you're going to get. It always been sort of in the little writing, the little blurbs, but it never been formally, you needed to click a box to say you're acknowledging that. But now Kickstarter has come out with, officially, in the help section, rules saying you can only run so much at once before fulfillment. And it breaks it down via category. Like, if you're in this category, you can do this many. If you're in this category, you can do this many. In this category, this many. And why is that applicable? Well, again, it's not very many, but it's also sort of, are they willing to put their mouth where their money is? I know I've switched those around on purpose. Because they haven't been in the past. Even in cases of easily cited plagiarism and concerns about scamming, that they have been very reluctant to cancel campaigns or have any sort of regulation when it comes to possibly demonetizing their own pocketbooks. So, I know it's a business, but it's a big business. So why are we talking about this now? Well, we've got potential players that are going to fall into these strike areas where, should they be able to launch another one, no matter how you feel about them, positive or negative? That's the point. And they've got some interesting data to show incentive-wise that, again, maybe they just won't do anything. Because, don't want to strike the golden goose too hard and have it go elsewhere. And that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. Talking about Gamefound. And migration versus not migrating over there from that side of things. But let me pull up the data for you guys, as well as this page where I can show you the exact quote for a second. So here is the exact page in the help section for Kickstarter. Can I run more than one project at once? Okay, well, clearly, no, you can't. But good standing, if you can abide by the rules and the guidelines honestly and clearly, fulfill your campaigns to a high standard, blah, 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 blah. Honest communication, open and regular communication. Those are very nebulous terms, as we all know as backers. This is then the breakdown of what you can do. And, okay, design technology, which is interesting, and I'll get there in a second when I talk about the data. Publishing comics, again, okay, 6. That's a lot. Now, all other categories. This is where really we're talking about. Launch and manage up to 3 unfulfilled campaigns back-to-back in their respective categories. Okay. Overlapping fulfillment privileges. Okay, yeah, track record experience, blah, 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 blah. So why am I talking about that, right? Well, right now we have Mythic, who is currently doing Monster Apocalypse. 1, 2... with Six Siege, 3 with Super Fantasy Brawl, 4 with Darkest Dungeon, 5 with Hell. 5. At least when we pull up Simons, right, you can at least make the argument that Marvel United is kind of, sort of half-delivered. Not really half-delivered by any means, but, wave 1. So, Master of the Universe, Marvel United, Zombicide Dead and Alive, Simon Animation Collection, Massive Darkness 2. 5. And they're supposedly going to be launching their 6th. Oh, actually, just kidding. Trudvang. Trudvang is still out there, so we're already at 6. So they're just going to be launching their 50th now, upcoming. And that puts them at 7. And the question is, do you think anything's going to be done about that? If you're shaking your head at your computer like I am right now, then you're probably right. But I guess what's the point of putting this out there if you're not going to actually fulfill it and follow through with it? It's kind of lip service. Again, just like clicking that little box is on your confirming your pledge when you have to do that nowadays, which ironically now is on Gamefound and Kickstarter, kind of both did it at the same time. Now, why does this matter and where is the data, right? Here is the data of what crowdfunding through Kickstarter has done to date. $6.2 billion raised. Why does that matter? And because clearly it's not all going in their pockets. And they actually give an assessment of what their payoff is. I think believe it's 5% plus 20 cents per pledge plus 3% of the pledge. So I think I'm looking at that right. So 20 cents per pledge plus whatever 3% of the pledge is, plus a 5% overall of the funds, something like that. That's not insignificant. And why do I not think that they are going to go after games? Because, I mean, when they break down the data, games right now, most projects launched, most money raised. Success rate, I mean, it is what it is. I wonder if you broke it down to tabletop versus video game, how this success rate would be changed from that side of things. But then we go down here, and you get to see a little bit more of the data. Successfully funded projects. Again, not the highest here, but what matters is as you scroll across here, you're going to see things get much, much more in favor of the games, right? So again, under 1,000, not too many. But still, top 5. All of a sudden, we're jumping up here. Again, top 5. All of a sudden, 10,000 to 20,000, almost all the other ones are leveling off and going down now at this point. And now games is the top. You go up to 20 to 99,000, just under the 6-figure mark. Well in first place. Only even one other in design, even breaking 5,000. You go to 100 to just under 1 million. Only one other with design even breaks 2,000. Technology's close, but everything else isn't even in 4 digits. And then the real kicker here, going all the way over, games over 1 million. 243. The next closest, what? 3/4 of that? And only 2 of them are even above 100 beyond that. So the total proportion, when you start getting over this 20,000 mark, this 20,000 barrier for games, all of a sudden games are the golden goose for Kickstarter. And who are the games in the golden gooses? Oh, this and this, for example. A lot of them. Oh, yeah, that's right. So I can't see anything happening with it. I just can't. Because that would be essentially shooting themselves in their own foot, which is why I don't know why they would put this out in the first place. It just sort of goes counterintuitive. I mean, it's sort of been flying under the radar, and why are you announcing it? Why are you shouting it now? But really, when you're talking about money, I mean, this is, especially from the publishing side of things, that's where they're getting the big bucks. And are they going to lose stuff to Gamefound because of Gamefound's lower fee, because of the Gamefound pledge manager that is incorporated in it? What is that going to entail? How is that going to affect things? Because you're not going to see it this year. You're not going to see it next year, even, probably. But will you start to see over the data sort of trending or slowing or doing something along those lines? It's a great question, and it's an answer I don't know. But I guess really what it comes down to, again, like I said, is dollars and cents. And there are a few publishers that are of size enough to run multiple campaigns. There are also few publishers that have the bandwidth to get games out that fund that much at the same time. So the overlap, the Venn diagram of those two is relatively small. So am I surprised that they will make a nod, wink, wink sort of exception for those guys, especially with how much cash they're bringing in? Because, again, the pledge levels themselves, if that formula that I mentioned earlier was right, higher pledge levels gets you a higher cut. Higher overall funding gets you a higher cut. And number of pledges then is going to get you a higher cut too. So it's not just one or the other. And so the combination of all three of those aspects is exactly what Kickstarter wants from a money side of things. So is it going to change how they do business? Heck no. If anything, I'm surprised they don't allow more of that. Now, again, they have to balance the scamming side of things with the other areas that are probably a little less savory, that are not as quite as reputable when you get some of these bigger publisher campaigns, reiterations that have the track record that these do. Say what you will about how you feel about their games or their FOMOs. That's a whole nother conversation. So it's just food for thought. And are we going to see a bigger piece of that pie going to Gamefound? Because, like I said, that is the golden goose, and Gamefound is just games. And so is Kickstarter going to react? Are they going to be more loosey-goosey with the bigger ones, especially so that they don't feel like they're losing them? Or are we going to see more implementations of more features, not for the consumer side of things, but again, on the publisher designer side of things, to alleviate or assuage their fears or worries or concerns? Right? I mean, because those are clients. And you don't want to lose your clients. So it's an interesting thought. We're going to see how it goes over the next couple years. And I have no idea. It's going to be very interesting because Kickstarter has to know that, I mean, this is where a lot of their money is coming from. I mean, don't need me to tell them that. And what are you going to do to protect your golden goose and someone else from snatching it? Because, I mean, this is how things start. It's a small startup. It's a small thing, run of the mill. It's just a bunch of guys wannabe. They're doing something called All In. And all of a sudden, you turn around 2 years later, and you got AEW, now a major rival and competitor to WWE. Because, they can't do anything. It's not gonna, we're not gonna worry about it. I mean, we just, using that example, just saw it in wrestling. I know, not many of you are gonna relate to that, but that's okay. But trust me when I say, it literally just happened over the last 2 years. It went from a nothing, no company, no business whatsoever, no competition on that entertainment side of things, to a full-fledged rivalry. So, could the same happen here? Absolutely. And that's why it's going to be interesting, at least from my side of things, to just watch and see. So, there you go. What do you think? Kickstarter. Is it becoming like Facebook and Instagram? Is Gamefound the new TikTok? Or is it just going through growing phases? Growing pains, if you will. There you go. Let me know what you think. As always, stay classy. I'll see you around. Thanks for watching.